Thank you all for joining us this morning at Catalyst. If you haven't been to a Catalyst before with City Ministry Network, this is just a space where we like to gather our local community leaders and really come together and talk about issues, complex issues in our community, highlight some great things in our community, and really just connect with one another, learn how we can support one another, collaborate, and just have meaningful conversations. So my name is Akia Walker. I am the executive director with the Stanislaus Youth Empowerment Program. And I also have the pleasure of serving on the City Ministry Network board. So it's my pleasure to be here this morning with you all. I also want to just give a special thank you to our sponsors. City Ministry Network is a 501c3 nonprofit, so all of the support that we receive is truly meaningful, and it allows us to continue doing this great work in the community. So shout out to our sponsors. Yes. And if you already are not following us on Facebook or Instagram, please do so. You'll be able to stay in touch with updates, especially updates about Catalyst, what's coming up and the topics for the following month, so make sure to follow us there. And tell your friends, peers, colleagues as well to follow us too. All right. So today I have the pleasure of introducing Kourtney Kauffman today. She is our speaker. So Kourtney is actually the president of City Ministry Network, and she is also the director of Family Concern Counseling. Yes, it's a mouthful. So Kourtney's going to lead us today with a conversation, some topic table discussions, and I'm really excited for this series today. I think it really ties into what City Ministry Network is all about, so I hope you guys are excited for what's in store.
Thank you, Akia. So I'm just going to give you a quick, brief introduction into what we're going to do this morning. I know it's a little smaller crowd, and I kind of love that for our topic today. But I also want to start, before we jump in, and just acknowledge that we're 2 days past Election Day, and there are all the feelings, I'm sure, a whole spectrum today. So I just want to make space and say that's okay. And honestly, this morning I woke up excited thinking, what better topic than connection? On a day where we have a lot of different things happening all in the same moment, right? And so I just want to remind you that that's what it's about. Most people that we argue over or fight over or things that go on, actually, we don't ever meet them, right? Most of the time, they don't have the same impact on our daily life as the people sitting across the table from you in this moment. And so I want to remind you today that that's what we're talking about, is how do we connect with the people around us in a way that makes us better so that we serve better. I know for me, Catalyst has been an instrumental part in my leadership development because of the connections I've made in this room, right? Different conversations, different moments, different speakers, different topics. Those are the things that have actually shaped my leadership. Far more than someone on a national stage, far more than someone in the larger arenas. This room has impacted it more. And that's what we actually want to talk about. So over the last few months, we've had different parts of CMN talk, right? We've shared some of the LLI graduates and some of their action plans, which is really cool to hear. We've had the Hispanic Youth Leadership Council come and share a little bit about what's happening with the younger emerging leaders. Today, we thought we would take an opportunity, again, because Marvin isn't here, so I got to decide what we were doing. We decided that we actually were not really having a super formal speaker up here. I'm not going to sit here and talk to you for however long. I'm actually going to turn the tables and have you all talking. Because, again, what is Catalyst about? It's about each of you, and it's about how you connect to each other. So I hope you like the people that you sat with, because you're going to be talking to them a lot. I'll let you switch, but also try not to do it too obviously, because we're going to see you. So that is what we're up to today, is we're going to remind ourselves the power of what Catalyst does, which is connection that spurs on community change. We've seen it. right? We have examples of it. We're going to talk about one even today, but that's what we're talking about today, is how does connection spur our leadership? How does it make us better at impacting those around us? So we're going to do a quick video. We had a couple of you, maybe even in this room, do videos about why you come to Catalyst, and so I would like you to go ahead and take a look at this first one.
Good morning. My name is Jose Lopez Igareda. I work in Stanislaus County, Behavioral Health Recovery Services and the Prevention Area Division. I've been attending Catalyst for 12, 13 years, and they were asking me why you are so consistent in Catalyst. Because this is the right place to build relationships, to connect with all the providers and different services, to have a good time, as well to learn, to share, and especially to walk away in your mind and having all the tools to be part of the solution in community. We love our families, we love our kids, we love our community. This is the right place because we are in the same page, and every single time when we present or when people present a case, everybody walks away in the same thought with the same mind. I love Catalyst. Thank you.
So I think I saw Jose this morning. Maybe, yeah, oh, he's right here. So thank you. Honestly, makes me a little, almost want to tear up, because how cool that we're able to do all of that in an hour before work. It is early, right? And getting up and getting that coffee is hard. So what we're going to actually have you guys do is we're going to turn you to your tables and do our first table talk. So if I can get the question up there. So I want you to share with the people around the table. Maybe you know, but maybe you don't. Maybe it's new. And if you are alone at a table, maybe join or have somebody join you. Thank you. What is your area of passion or focus in the community? So a lot of us have a lot of different areas. Some of us align and are doing work together. But what is your area of passion? And which inspires you more? Meeting people who share your passion and focus, or meeting people who have a different focus, and why? So please, here's a couple of rules. So again, I'm a clinician, so I'm all about like moderating group process. But I need you guys to make sure, if you're one who tends to share and have no problem talking, please make space for others to share. Maybe let others go first. And if you're one who gets a little nervous and is a little more reserved, maybe try to be a little courageous and go first. Okay? We want to make sure everybody has a chance to answer every question. Thank you. All right. Hopefully you all are having some really good conversation. I eavesdropped a little bit. And it sounds like you were able to get into those questions, and mostly all were able to answer, which is great. I'm going to actually show our second clip of why Wanda comes to Catalyst.
Good morning. My name is Wanda, and I am an attendee at Catalyst, and a grateful attendee at Catalyst. I started a few years back on the suggestion of a friend when I only had a dream of a nonprofit. And today that nonprofit is actually up and running and looking for ways to expand. And so I want to say thank you to City Ministries for Catalyst, and also for introducing me to Stanislaus Equity Partners. It has been a win-win. I have not only have found counsel, but I've also forged some great friendships and relationships. So thank you, and God bless. Bye-bye.
There are always so many stories that come out of Catalyst, which is so cool. Like almost every time I have conversations with people, they mention something new, that a new friendship or a new collaboration or a new organization that started because of Catalyst, which is very cool. Who knew coming before work to talk to people could be so powerful? I was thinking about what to share a little bit this morning. I don't have a ton of time, but I was going to share a little bit about what Catalyst has meant for me. So I have been around Catalyst since the early days as a young volunteer at one of the places Marvin was working, and came to Catalyst when it was literally people around tables standing up and saying, here's what I work in, and here's my name, and then sitting down, and the next person would stand up and do that, and literally just trying to get the people who were working, with the unhoused friends in our community together, people who are working in mental health sitting together, people who are working, in different kinds of areas of our community, just talking, just getting to know who the players are. So you know who to call and what's going on. And the conversation was always, let's not replicate. If somebody else is doing something already, let's learn, let's grow together, let's collaborate, but let's not start something all new when it already exists. Let's just make each other better. And so that was where it started. I then took a job and worked as a social worker in another county, and so I was very tied up and not able to come to Catalyst for quite a while. And so after about 7 years, grad school and everything else, the opportunity arose for me to come full-time working in Modesto at Family Concern Counseling, part of Youth for Christ. And I was leaving this job that I'd been doing for 7 years in another county. So I had connections and I had new people, and if I needed somebody to help me gather school records for one of my cases, I knew who to call. Or if I knew, that this kid needed something for a physical, I knew who to call in this other county. And so leaving that job was actually really tricky because I was leaving a role and a community and connections that I had built over 7 years. And so I was a little intimidated coming into a new role, knowing that I was learning and didn't know what I was doing. And so I really started to think about, okay, how do I figure out who the players are, like in Stanislaus County? I need a new network, right? This is a new area, and I don't know who's here and who's doing what. Catalyst was my first step. And so I remember coming, and I don't remember specific connections. That's one of the things Leo was like, do you remember a specific one? I don't remember a specific connection. But I remember knowing, without a doubt, that Catalyst was the place that I would be able to meet who I needed to know, that it would be the place that I also could learn and figure out, what was needed in our community, where are the holes, and how do I fill one of those and make sure I don't replicate something that others are already doing well. But Catalyst has grown to be something different for me also. And I think that's the cool part. I think all of these videos, each person has a different perspective of what Catalyst has done, and that's true for me too. Initially, it was so that I could just kind of get my hands around what's going on in our community. But it's become a place of friends and of leaders that I can ask questions of. And there's been a few times I was thinking, one particular connection, I was thinking of John Britton, Alberta, I was thinking of John, and how there's been a few times where I'm like, okay, so as you get higher in leadership, do you just sit in meetings all day? Is that what this is? And he was like, yeah, kinda. That's kind of what it is. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I do all day. How is that? So just having people that as I'm learning, I can ask those questions. I can say, am I doing it wrong? Because this is how it feels. And they're like, nope, it just feels like that. Good luck, right? But knowing that I'm not alone. Leadership is hard, right? It is exhausting work. It is hard because we continuously work and we care deeply, and we're not always sure that people around us care deeply. But here we know. And for me, that's what it's been. It's been a place where I could go, okay, so this is really uncomfortable, or this is really hard, or I have no clue what I'm doing, and basically anyone could probably expose how terrible I am at this. But also I'm not alone, because y'all are in the same boat too, right? I think that's the thing that I've learned most, is that no matter how far you get in your leadership journey, you don't actually figure it out. You just learn new things that you don't know, right? And so this place always will be a resource because of that. And for me, it has been that. So even this morning, and I'm going to not even take all the time I had, but even this morning as you sit and as you talk, as you connect with the people around you, as you start talking about this place and what it's meant to you, I hope that it also inspires you to think through who else needs to be around these tables. I think of other young emerging leaders like me who might not even know that this space exists, but who need somebody to look at them and go, you're fine. Just because it feels like you're doing it wrong doesn't mean you are, right? Just because you feel like meetings are taking all of your time, and it is true, doesn't mean you're doing the job wrong. That is the job, right? To have people who can reflect back to us what this journey is like, and to know some of us are further ahead and have been doing it longer, and some of us are still in the beginning and learning. That's the power of this space. So if you leave Catalyst and you haven't made a connection, if you leave Catalyst and you haven't found somebody new to have coffee with, or you haven't had a conversation that made you think a little differently or inspired you to consider a new concept, I think we're missing out on something that could be great. That's what I hope for today, and that's what I hope for every Catalyst. So as we continue this morning, that's what I want. be thinking about who around your table, who have you talked with this morning? Maybe it's even me. Who would you love to have coffee with and just get to know a little bit more? Who would you love to talk a little bit about how they see the world or how they've been doing this community work? Or what questions do you wish you could ask of a leader in the room? Find them and ask them. That's what this space is for. And that's what I hope we walk away with today. So that's what Catalyst has meant to me. As we move into our second table talk, if you can also, here's the thing. If you want to switch tables just because you want to talk to more people, I'm not going to be mad about that because that's kind of the point. But I'm also not going to make you because you're all getting real cozy and comfy with the groups that you've got. But I'm going to go ahead and have us move to the second table talk. Please make sure a different person starts the conversation, not the same one because we can get into ruts. I'll come and check. So make sure a different person starts, okay? And try to see if the people maybe who didn't get to finish the second question start the second round, okay? Make sense? I'm going to come around and eavesdrop, so make sure you are. What role does Catalyst play in your leadership journey? That's the first question. And how have you become a better leader from what you've learned or from a connection that you've made at Catalyst? Okay? So please share your stories, and we will be back up in a minute. Okay, take a couple seconds and finish those thoughts. I did eavesdrop on a few groups, and you guys are talking about, you're staying on topic, so good job. Hopefully, you're learning a little bit more about each other and about their experiences here too. I'm going to actually introduce, so the next thing we're going to do is actually an opportunity to hear a little bit from the other groups and what they're talking through or some of their thoughts. So we're actually going to move into a Slido, which means you need your phone out. So I think we've done these before, so it shouldn't be too super new for you. So go ahead and get to the QR code, and I want you to share 1 or 2 leadership skills that you've gained here at Catalyst. So thinking about your time here, what's 1 or 2 leadership skills that you've gained? And I'm going to give you a second to answer. Empathy, vision, collaboration, confidence, connecting with others. Kind of the whole point, networking, collaboration, and connection. So the more people who answer certain questions, the bigger the word will get. So when you see it getting bigger, that means more people have answered that. So many connecting up there. Appreciation. Being awake early, it is good for getting you out of bed, huh? Great skill to be awake early. I think Marvin has research about that or something, like being up early. So the cool part for me is it looks like Catalyst is doing what it's supposed to do, right? Awesome. So, you can finish up a couple of answers there if you want. And we're going to actually, let's see. Did you want to have, for Jose, yeah. Okay, so we're actually going to share one more story, so you don't just hear my story about Catalyst, but I'm going to have Jose come on up. And we're going to talk through his story of how Catalyst has impacted him.
Good morning.
So, Jose, good morning. Can you tell everybody, I know most know you, but can you just give a brief, who you are, what you do?
Jose Sabala, born and raised in Modesto. It'll be 44 years tomorrow. I'll be here in this community. Mm-hmm. And it's a big number, Jesus. But I'm born and raised in Modesto, grew up in Airport neighborhood, family from the west side, mom from the south side. So I know all the neighborhoods in this community. And that's a little bit about me. Got a family. Yeah. Beautiful wife, married since 21 years. She's probably watching somewhere, but and my two amazing sons, Ezekiel, got a college student, which is so weird. Got a college student to say that. That's weird. And then my other son, Jude, 2 amazing kings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice. We actually have the same birthday, but I'm just a few years younger, so I'm going to hang on to that as long as I can, really.
Let's do it.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about where you were on your leadership journey before you came to Catalyst. So tell us a little bit about who you were and what you were doing before then.
Yeah, so I was in the corporate world, corporate banking at Washington Mitchell. Anybody remember Washington Mitchell? Forget about that place. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, joke. So I was in the community. I was doing that in Stockton, working for 13 years there out of that place, and that went kaplunk. And I was at a fork, and so I went to college. We had just bought my home, just a little backstory. We just bought a home, and then the market went down, lost my job, was at a crushing point, had to go to college with my first son, Ezekiel, and ended up going to college for 3 of my college years, commuting to the Bay Area, and then coming back into Modesto, finishing my college. And then as soon as I finished my college, I got my bachelor's in business management, and I wanted to start a production company. And because I was in business, I love entrepreneurship. And one of the things that a friend of mine, his name is Ruben Imperial, which probably you all know, but he said, hey, you should come to Catalyst. And so I came dressing better than this. I was in a suit and tie, and I was so nervous, but it was my first business network meeting, because in college they teach you how to network in business and listen. And so I sat there, that table that's empty, and I sat there with Ruben Imperial, James Bates, Joseph, and I think Jeff was maybe there as well, Jeff Fishney, and another person from MJC College. So I sat here super nervous. I had made my sleazy, cheesy network cards that just had my name. And I sat there and I just took a leap of faith, because I don't know what the heck I was doing. And super nervous, because coming out of poverty, my mindset was a little bit different on certain things. And so I was sitting there at a fork in the road, not knowing what to do. I said, man, I'm going to start a business. I guess this is the way to go. I don't know. Had to go to work, super nervous. I called in. I was just like, this is something important. So when I got here, I was on that journey of a fork in the road.
I think Marvin still makes fun of you for showing up in a suit.
He does.
That first day.
Joe does too, man. Jeez.
You're just trying to,
Yeah.
elevate a little.
Yeah.
So what do you think was most impactful about that first Catalyst?
Yeah, I think the people. I think the most impactful thing for me was getting to know the people at the table. I mean, I took that step because I'm that type of person. I really wasn't before, but college helped me get out of that, and people helped me get out of that. So I ended up just taking that step of faith. After the meeting, I got everybody's numbers and emails, and I sent them an email. And I said, I'd love to have coffee, and I'd love to have lunch, because I used to like to eat, and I love taco trucks. And so I said, hey, we can go see some amazing taco trucks. There's a DMV taco truck where I used to live. It was amazing. And that's really the most impactful thing, that when I first started coming here, was getting to know the people. And I didn't know I was sitting next to world leaders. Like James Bates is an awesome man of God, and he's doing great work with DataPath, and he's a very successful CEO. Joseph, also an awesome financial planner, doing some great things for the kingdom of God. And then Jeff, it's like, oh my God, like so much to say, change of the world. And so that was the most impactful thing for me, that I was able to easily connect with people in our community. And I was telling my table, I wish there was this when I was 16, 17 years old, because I was in a fork of road, even though I loved the Lord and I was going to church, but I wasn't living out the church like I used to. I really didn't know how to do that. And so this place helped me see that in other people.
Thank you. You can if you want, yeah. So as you think about connecting with those community leaders, right, that you asked to go to coffee, which is hard, and it's a little
Very.
awkward when you're a grown-up to be like, hey, could we be friends?
Yes.
Like, that feels a little weird.
I had hair back then, and I didn't have a beard either.
And the suit,
Yeah,
right? You just
yeah.
looked real different. So, but how did actually going to coffee with these leaders, how did having Taco Truck, right, going and meeting up with them outside of this space, how did that shape your leadership?
Man, it was to a point of like getting rid of some things internally too, because there's fear, there's uncertainty, there's all these things that that growing up in these type of neighborhoods that you kind of deal with, and then not knowing how to react to that was a piece that these people helped really see and help me believe who Jesus was in my life, and that really kind of shifted my mentality of seeing the community not as a organization, not as an opportunity, but as the kingdom of God to advance. And so meeting with these different folks really kind of just pulled that out of me and started inspiring me to be better. And I put myself in hot seats like I'm doing right now, and I continue to do it because I've always want to learn from somebody. I pray to God, Lord, keep me in that place on my knees so I can continue to learn directly from you, but then from your children. So.
And so kind of going on that, how have you seen the connection that happens here? How have you seen that change the community? You've been in the community for a very long time, right? So how have you seen the connection that happens here in this room change things for our community?
Great question. So the people that I met other people. That's when I started meeting with Marvin, and I started meeting with Joe, and I started meeting with, so many other people, Jeff, and other people that were involved, John Evans, Homero Mejia, George Perez, all these amazing people that were doing great work in the community. And I said, why are you doing what you're doing? I was so intrigued. And I started seeing this opportunity to begin a organization to mobilize the people of God in a community. And so that's how really the power of meeting with people and engaging, and it started a nonprofit called South Modesto Partnerships. Yeah.
And how did you see that work change the community?
Yeah, one of the things that I've seen is the togetherness, bringing all the different sectors together. South Modesto was always an area of political engagement and we started seeing a lot of that happening, and the community was upset about it. And so I put myself in the hot seat by taking a step of faith and just learning and meeting with the neighbors there in my community. And from that point, we started seeing the unified aspect of mobilizing the different sectors to point them to the residents in that community to say, these are your leaders. And out of that, man, Parks for Change, street lights are out there now. There's a credit union out there now. There's so many positive things that are happening in that community, all from the power of coming together.
Thank you. So last question, and then we'll call it good. So what is a piece of advice you'd give to a young leader like us who showed up and weren't quite sure what we needed to be doing and needed that support, needed that community around us, those emerging leaders? What advice would you give them?
Just take that step of faith. That's the best advice I could say. This place right here, Catalyst people that come, they're trusted voices in the community. They're a voice of safety. They also will not judge you, but come alongside you. They'll make fun of you sometimes. Just kidding. They will not. They will not. That was a joke.
It's not actually. It's fully a joke.
But I would say just keep showing up and keep meeting people and keep putting yourself in the hot seat. And then you'll find somebody who looks like you. You'll find somebody who's been through, you've been through that. Somebody's been through that with you. And just to back up real quick on the last question, the power of coming together started that nonprofit organization, again, reignited here at Catalyst through City Ministry Network for now the first ever Stanislaus County Community Development Corporation. And that's the power of coming together right there. That for me is, you can do it. I mean, I'm from, my father was an OG. Pastor Jeremiah back there, he knows my dad. You know, he was an OG from West Side. I mean, he didn't look like this. He was tatted up. Thank the Lord, he's serving the Lord and changed his trajectory. My mom was a chola, and I grew up in that. They grew up in that. Thankfully, they shifted that and found the Lord. But now, learning that the fact that you can come to a place and be from that type of community and be where I'm at now. I'm a vice president for Oak Valley Community Bank. I was an uneducated gangster. Not really a gangster. It was a joke. It's a joke, okay? I was an uneducated person from a neighborhood that looks rough and that is tough. But when you surround yourself with people who love well, who encourage you, who can come alongside you and can really kind of take you a little bit, things can change.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Jose. I feel like we might not need to say much more. Really quickly, I want to capture something, and we'll talk about it again. But Jose said something that I think many of you have been told too. He said that Ruben said, hey, you should come to Catalyst. Right? I just want you to think right now, and maybe take a minute, jot it down somewhere in your phone or on a piece of paper, and maybe I'll give you like 20 seconds, 10 seconds. I want you to think of a name of a person who needs the space, who needs a place to bounce the ideas off of, who needs a place to ask the questions that feel a little awkward, to know, am I doing it right? Right? Those leaders that need to be here. And I want you to just think for a minute and write down a name that comes to mind. Because you could be the Ruben for Jose. Okay, and as you write those names down, I'm going to introduce our next Slido. Because one of the things that we are wrestling through is, okay, what other things do we want to talk about here? What other conversations and topics do we need to have? And so I believe our next Slido, hold on, let's get the next one up here. It's fine. Do we have? Yeah, go ahead. Oh, we got it.
Well, I just want to say, while he's switching that, as you think about these community topics, think, what do we need to learn more about in this room? Who do we need to hear from? What's happening in the community? What different perspectives do we need to be aware of? So kind of think about that and think about, what do I want to get to know at Catalyst over the next year?
Thank you, Leah. Okay, so we want to hear that. We might actually choose speakers and topics according to this. So please think through that and let us know. Hot topics, so like current event, current things happening in our community, it sounds like. Well, I think oh, there it is. So new collaborations, silent voices of veterans. Ethics, what our leaders are having to go through. Yeah, leadership can be kind of lonely at the top, huh? Fundraising, kindness, overcoming challenges, government accountability, how to brand a business for the ground up, fundraising, local journalism, empowerment for youth, resources, social justice, speaking opportunities. All right. Gives us some good ideas. I'll let a couple more of you pop in if you need to. And then we have another table talk. So this is community-focused topics, right? The next is actually, what are some of the things that are leadership skills? And some of these kind of mix in there, right? Like some of those things were actually leadership skills also. But I'm going to have the next one, we're going to slip over to the next Slido. And as it does, I want you to think about, what are some of the skills that we could have somebody come and teach us about, right? So is that conflict resolution? Is it, is it public speaking tips? Is it, I remember there was one, I think it was a debate teacher who came and was talking about disagreeing kind of with kindness and grace. So what are some of those topics that we need to have? How do you rest well? How do you lead a creative team? What are some of those things? So pitch skills, Toastmasters, asking good questions. Oh, that's a great one. Community development, peace builders. Empathy. How to market. building a good team, cultural differences, balance meeting schedules. Oh, those meetings. Somebody else is with me. If you want to have coffee so we can complain about meetings, just let me know. How to be courageous, building healthy relationships, or building a leadership team, accepting criticism. Oh, another really fun one with leadership, huh? So the cool part here is you guys are all in a very clear alignment around some of the things that you are wrestling through. So cool. So thank you. You guys actually just helped us out in our catalyst planning, which we appreciate. But we want to know, what are some of those things that you need? So here is what we're going to do really quickly. I've got... Ask Joe. Did Joe type that for himself? That's what I would like to know. All right, so here is what we're going to do. Third video, we have one more person who shared a video with us about why they come to Catalyst. And so I want you to enjoy that, and we'll wrap up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Estella. I work at Pique. I'm the Community Engagement Associate. I wanted to share a little bit about why I show up to Catalyst every month and the reason why I think it's so important to be engaged in your community. I think it's such a great space to be able to learn more about what's going on, meet new people, network, and really be engaged within my own community. And it really does make me feel a little bit more hopeful that there are people that are doing work, very important work here in our area.
All right. So here's, we're gonna shift, well, I told you Marvin's not here, so I get to make the decisions. So here's what we're gonna do for this last one, and I do want to encourage you, as we close today, I want you to stand up and I want you to meet someone new. I want you to go see somebody that maybe you've seen a few times and you're like, I really think I would love to learn from them. Or just want to say hi, or I have something in common with them. And I want you to take that moment today, okay? So you're inviting somebody, here's your tasks. I will check on you next month. Here's your tasks. Hey, you should come to Catalyst. Be the Reuben for somebody in your life, right? And I want you to meet somebody new, find somebody new, connect with somebody new today. Those are your homework, okay? So as we close today, though, we wanted to take a minute and we wanted to have a little bit of reflection for you, kind of like I did a few minutes ago, but we're going to do it again anyways because I'm in charge. So what 3 people do you know who care about our community that you think you should invite to Catalyst so that they can connect and grow their business? I want you to think about them. And I want you, so you started with 1 earlier, so you only have 2 more to do. But I want you to take a minute and think through. Organization leaders, maybe they are church leaders, maybe they are a community member who just cares deeply, right? Maybe they aren't an organizational leader, but maybe they are leading in another capacity. But I want you to take a minute and I want you to write those names down. And I want you to commit to call or text them in the next week. You can even pull out your phone now and text them and say, you need to come, right? Next month, come with me, come sit with me. I'll get the coffee and it's free, so you don't even have to buy it. But I want you to take a minute and I want you to just think through those 3 names. So you already have 1, I want you to think of 2 more, and I want you to take a minute and even send them a text if you want. So I'm going to give you literal time right now to do this work that we've talked about this morning of connection. Yeah, so we'll talk about what next month is in just a second. I was also thinking, so as you're talking, I was thinking about my favorite Catalyst moments. I don't know if any of you were there, but we had Catalyst in like one of the rooms over there that's more like church, like at the old chapel, and it was Christmas, and we made you guys build Christmas trees out of red cups and had a contest. And I'm pretty sure a few tables cheated, but also I didn't know for sure. That's probably my favorite Catalyst moment, is just watching people squabble over the red cups. Listen, it seemed a little more like squabbling, but yes, teamwork. All right. So hopefully you have texted, you have reached out, you have those 3 people in mind, and you are trusting yourself that those are the right ones to bring into the room so that you can help change their world by connecting them with other leaders who care deeply about our community. And hopefully this morning has been great. I'm going to bring up Akia and have her go ahead and close us this morning. But thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for connecting with each other. And it was so wonderful to hear just each of you taking time to share with those around you. Stand up afterwards and please meet someone new.
Thank you, Kourtney, for leading us in that great discussion, or mini discussions. I hope you all took something great away from that. I just wanted to take a brief moment. I know we're a little bit over time, but Catalyst, even greater, City Ministry Network, has been really, really impactful in my journey. I grew up in this community, but I was very disconnected from this community. And it wasn't until I became a young adult, started doing community work, eventually got the opportunity to start a nonprofit. It was really with the support of City Ministry Network, and more importantly, coming to spaces like this, like Catalyst, and getting uncomfortable to meet new people. If you don't know me, I'm a very introverted person. Yeah, it's not as easy to go into spaces and network and things of that sort. I'm more of a one-on-one connector, but that's the special thing about Catalyst. I've been able to come into a space that is safe, that is encouraging and uplifting, and be able to meet people and do those one-on-one connections. Just last month after the Catalyst session, I ended up meeting with 4 different people just from this space alone. So that's the power of this space, and I really appreciate it. Next month, Catalyst topic, we're going to be hearing from Volt Institute. Chris Lewis, the program manager at Student Engagement, is going to be speaking with us about what Volt is all about, what they do, and how they are preparing students for vocational pathways in the trades, and more importantly, trying to keep students connected to local jobs here. So it's going to be a special topic. Hope to see you all here next month. And I'm just going to close us in prayer. Okay. Father, thank you for this morning, for us to come together and connect, for us to learn, have meaningful conversations with one another. Lord, I pray during this time, post-election, I know some people's hearts may feel heavy, some people may feel confused. There is a lot of a mix of emotions, and I pray that we can connect with one another, lean into each other, lean into those leaders in our local communities, our local community members, and really show up for one another, and really display a love and empathy that I know, Lord, you would want us to share with one another. I pray that you give us a spirit of peace, and that we know you are guiding us every step of the way, that your hand is over our community, your hand is over our leaders, and that we are going to do good work together and in the glory of your name. Thank you, Father, for all that you continue to do in our lives and in our communities. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you all. Remember, connect with someone.